After 3.5 months of being on sale, Paris is finally removed. Now with the removal of Paris, we saw a very interesting development, and that's the fact that these capsules have exploded. Now we talk about this right here. This is Stockholm when we saw the explosion of the capsules there. We can compare that to Antwerp where we saw the implosion, and Paris we didn't really know where it was going to land. Obviously we can see right here that a couple of the more desirable capsules have exploded in the very short term here. I want to make it very clear, this is only a couple days, but it's a very interesting development so far. SkinSwap is today's sponsor, and they're also sponsoring you with a free bonus for signing up with the first link in the description. They're the premier place for CSGO and Rust skins with a massive trading site and a top-of-the-line marketplace, offering you the most competitive rates out there and a massive 40% bonus when you're using that link in the description. Combine that with their top-of-the-line selling feature with many payout options and their trading feature legitimately taking you just about a minute, and there's no reason not to sign up with that first link in the description. Now talking about the Paris Holos, we've seen a pretty decent increase for a decent amount of them. Take the Pain Gaming right here. Not a remarkable holo by any means, but it's up 15-20%, and we see this all across the board. Now these are 5-day graphs to help give you a little bit more of relevant information, and as you can see right here, most of these holos ended up gaining a decent amount, but they're probably going to end up losing a decent amount as well. That's just the general trend we end up seeing. We can see the capsules end up going up in value, and usually they keep a little bit more than the holos, as the holos are a little bit more volatile, and you can see a decent amount of them have already lost some of their value as well. Now in my personal opinion, I'm still sticking by the idea. I don't think it's a smart investment to make, and we can use actual numbers to figure this out. We can look at the value that makes up a Paris capsule, and as you can see, the majority of this value comes from the holos themselves. Now that's really good if you're opening up the capsule, because that means these holos are extremely expensive, but that also makes it a bad investment because obviously these holos are extremely expensive, and therefore in my opinion, I don't think it's a smart idea for you to specifically be investing into these, even though they do have a decent amount of demand, and we generally see the trend forming that these are going to be some demanded stickers. I just can't justify it because we know how expensive these stickers are. Now talking about glitters, we usually reference them as the secondary option, but for Paris here, we've actually seen some pretty massive growth. A lot of them are up potentially 25 to 40%, which is much more than what we've seen for some of the holos from Paris. Now, when we're talking about these specifically, we're starting to see a pretty distinct trend forming, and that's the fact that all of them shot up very quickly and have started to lose a decent amount of that value. Now, this is not too out of the ordinary, but it's not very good in this specific example. We can look at the mouse glitter right here. This is almost exactly what a hype bubble looks like when we're talking about in the sticker market. In my opinion, this is not going to be sustainable at all. As you can see, it's already on a quite significant downtrend, and I would suggest at this point not to invest into this area just because it's a little bit unsure, but probably going to lose a decent amount of that value it's already gained. Now talking about the 3 sticker capsules, things are starting to look quite promising. We can see that all of them have started off on a very strong trajectory, similar to what we saw for the Stockholm Challengers capsule. Now obviously this is probably just a little bit of a short-term hype, but it does look quite decent overall. We can look at what makes up these capsules, and obviously the ROI is mainly coming from the holos we previously mentioned, and those are up a little bit, but I don't think that even with them dropping down, these capsules are suddenly going to become undesirable. These are very strong looking capsules in the longer period of time, and usually capsules are the ones we look for when we're looking for a very strong but yet a little bit more safe ROI in terms of investment. Now for me, I'm really feeling the Challengers capsule right now. We can look at these, which were the actual listings an hour before Paris got removed, and we can see that the Challengers only had 255,000. Now obviously this is still a lot and it's not concrete information, but it definitely shows us where the public interest is leaning, and the public interest is definitely in that Contenders capsule because it contains the mouse holo, and therefore I'm a little bit stronger on the Challengers capsule, although all 3 of these in my opinion have a very strong path to success provided we actually see demand for these stickers long term, which is the most important. Now talking about autograph capsules, it's not the same situation at all. We can see one which is just dumb, that's the Champions capsule, but the other 2, the Challengers and the Legends capsules for the autograph format, really scare me. That's because if we want to look inside of them, we can see that the majority of their value is made up of the golds, and golds are a really low chance to actually get unboxed, and we need people to be enticed to open up our capsules. Compare that to the Paris Contenders autograph capsule, which is made up majority of the value from the holos inside of them, which are really good and really expensive compared to the overall capsule themselves. That's very important. We need to entice people to open up their capsules, and this is exactly what we saw with the Antwerp capsules, where the Contender autograph capsule there was extremely expensive in the holo format, and people were enticed to open it, and as you can see right here, it's extremely expensive compared to the other capsules that were actually available for sale for Antwerp. Therefore, I think if you're going to buy any of them, the autograph Contender capsule for Paris is probably going to be your best option out of the 4. Now we mentioned earlier that the prices had gone up for Paris. Does that mean it's a good opportunity to sell? Well, in my opinion, I still think you're better off off holding on. I don't think selling is going to be the worst idea if you really need the profit, but with that being said, we invested into these capsules because of the long-term potential that they hold, and we're just about a whole 3 days after the sale has been removed. I don't think it's a smart idea, and I think selling off right now, unless you truly need the money, is probably not going to be in your best interest if you're planning to stay in CSGO investing for the time being. Now, one area that's been very interested in is Stockholm and Antwerp, and I think it's a great alternative if you don't want to get too deep into Paris. Paris has got a pretty massive supply, which we'll talk about in just a minute, but we know Stockholm and Antwerp have already proven to be quite safe investments and quite stable investments over the longer period of time. Now, with that being said, the value that Paris has actually does slightly play into the value that Stockholm and Antwerp are going to have. That's because all three of these are substitutes for each other. Now, the supply of Paris is a very controversial topic. That's because we've got really ranging numbers. We got posts like this that say $200 million were generated because of this. We got posts like this that say 432 million were unboxed. Then we got posts like this that say 500 million were bought in general. The biggest thing I want to point out about all of these is these are only estimations. No one knows for sure, and I want to make that very clear because these numbers are extremely high, and although we definitely believe the supply of Paris out there is extremely high as well, we don't exactly know, and these at the end of the day are estimations that are giving you an idea into possibly the amount of the supply that's out there, but no one knows for sure. Now, there's a couple things that are going to influence if Paris turns out to be a great investment. Well, one of them is definitely the Copenhagen Major, which is the next up major for CS2. It's actually the only officially announced one. There's definitely a possibility we see Shanghai next. But talking about the Copenhagen Major, it's going to be very interesting to see because this is less than 6 months away at this point, which is a very short time period considering there's probably going to be an update in the next upcoming months, which is going to extend possibly until that date. Now, this one's probably going to be quite obvious. As you can see with Stockholm and Antwerp, there was a major drop off because of the release of Paris, and we could possibly see that again here with Paris, because that would be the most potent and the most volatile at that time. So if we do see Copenhagen borderless, it would probably be a very negative impact for Paris and probably much smaller on Stockholm and Antwerp. Now, looking at all the things about Paris, all I'm looking at is the rare case market and how strong it's currently doing and how it's going to continue being this strong because of what's been going on with Paris. We know Paris is definitely an area of interest right now, but it's probably going to start decreasing slowly over time. And the one area that's going to still pick up that interest has got to be the rare case market. It's the only thing we currently have that's really unboxable, obviously, other than those active duty cases. This is very important because people are going to be flocking to these cases more than they are already. We can look at unboxing numbers. This area is extremely strong at the current moment. Now, what should you buy? Well, honestly speaking, talking about Paris, I can't really see a major reason as to buy it right now. We've known all the information about Paris for the past couple of weeks and past couple of months even, that I don't think investing into it now with a higher price point is really going to be beneficial for you. If you're looking to pick up anything, I would highly suggest you check out the rare case market because I think it's got a very strong opportunity. But that's pretty much all I got. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you have a great rest of your day.